going on? RGIJ is back, baby. But what did he have to say though?
So really, like he was talking about how his things went and stuff like that. In my opinion, if you listen to Michael Jordan, if you listen to Kobe Bryant, if you listen to anybody that's a GOAT in their sport, they sound all the same. I don't think a lot of people that I talked to didn't actually like him talking. They actually didn't get a lot from it.
Really?
The reason why, though, this is the reason why I think so. When you're that kind of because they were like, he wasn't really humbled, and he's not very a humble person. It's like, and the reason why I say that I don't think that's true is for him to chase the glory that dude did, you can't get stuck on one achievement. You know, when you have these men of gold medals, and he was like, like he said something, he's like, but I really wanted that world record and I didn't get it. But I got a gold medal. And it's like, people are like, what the fuck? But it's like, for him, I think for a high achiever, you're a person who's so focused on what you do. Right. And he's in the water all the time. Like he's doing something that nobody else wants to do. You're not working on communication skills, right? You're not really working on like, how do I communicate with people? And do I influence people? Can I make people inspired? No. Why? I'm worried about myself and doing what I need to do every day to become excellent. I think you get that person like that, they're going to be misunderstood because greatness isn't like, it's like, if you talk about Kobe, right? Yeah. And everyone who talks about Kobe always talks about him in the greatest light of being a hard worker. Michael Jordan, same thing. Nobody ever talks about them being the nicest fucking dude in the world. Tiger Woods, none of these, like, it's never been like, hey man, they're a really good fucking dude, man. They're nice, man. Oh man, you meet that guy, he gives you a hug, he'll do that shit. Right. No. Fucking, any of them, Tom Brady, they're always like, they're fucking dicks, man. They're always mean. They're fucking da-da-da. They hold themselves to a high standard, and they hold anyone around them to a standard as well. And if they don't meet it, they normally get talked to a certain way, right? You've heard about Tom Brady saying those things. You've heard about Michael Jordan. You've heard about, Kobe Bryant. I think all these dudes that are hyper winners, I mean, I don't think what else can they really talk about, but they do the same thing every day. They work on it. And then when it gets to a point where something's good, they just find another problem to fix. That's all they're working on. They're just working on themselves nonstop. So right. I think they get misunderstood, but I liked it. It was one of the things he was talking about. And it's like, yeah. And he was like, and he was talking about a world record. And he was, I got it. And then, he's talking about these things, and it doesn't seem like he's very humble, but at the same time frame, I think he is humbled. Because can you imagine if you win all those gold medals and come out and be like, dude, I'm a shit. Yeah. And one of the things he said at the end was like, dude, I know it's only a matter of time before someone else breaks my record, because they're meant to be broken and those type of things. But I would like it for this so it can be, 20 years since somebody broke my record. Correct. Or whatever.
Right. I mean, you got to give him credit, though. That dude, I mean, he had to focus. Honestly, if I was there, what I would have took from it is the dedication, the commitment. You know what I'm saying? The discipline to even though I know that it was his sport, but you got to remember, he did team swim meets. He did individual, different style of individual swimming. It wasn't just one style. It was, the reverse swimming, the freestyle swimming, the butterfly. I mean, these are different techniques that you have to concentrate on and practice all the time. I would have took that from that. I would have not cared if he was humbled or not. It's just the fact that this dude really focused at such a young age, too. He didn't start. He's been swimming since pre-teens or whatever the case may be. And I think he went to the Olympics. 7. Yeah, he went to the Olympics at an early age. So can you imagine being in the Olympics at the early age and trying to go for the gold medal? Yeah. I mean, the fact that you're representing the USA in the Olympics itself is something big. But for me, I would have took it like, regardless if he I didn't think he was humble or not. It's just the fact that, dude, you're showing me that you can, if you really set your sight on wanting to achieve something, you can do it. But it's going to take you to put in the hard work, the time, the commitment, the discipline to get there. It just can't be, if I didn't get the world record, he still won gold. So even though he didn't get the world record, that didn't shut him down to be like, oh, fine, I didn't get the world record, so I'm not going to get gold. No, fuck it. I'm still going to shoot.
No, what I'm saying is, he didn't care he got the gold. He was upset he didn't get the world record. And so for some people, they're like, well, yeah. And I think, honestly, a lot of those dudes don't really work on being grateful. Like, you can't, because if you're grateful for a lot of things, I think for some people, if they see themselves as being too grateful, they won't work as hard. I disagree with that method. I think you could be super successful and be the nicest fucking person in the world.
Absolutely.
I think that way.
Mhm.
But again, if you look at all the all-time greats, nobody's ever said they're a nice person. Nobody. And I'm not saying he's a bad person. I didn't meet that guy. Like I didn't meet that. But I know a lot of people were like kind of, oh wow, I thought you were going to be this this suave person who can talk. And it's like, I don't think that guy really worked a lot on communication. You know what I mean? It's just, that's just how it is. Like when you're working on nonstop about, and he's talking about his fingers, the movement of his toes and shit like that. You're working on the placement of your feet. And that's what you're worried about. I'm pretty sure you're not worried about like, do I come across as being rude?
Yeah.
How do I influence people? He's not reading that book, How to Influence People. He's not reading that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I thought it was dope, man. Like I said, both those dudes. But that dude, Mack Newton, if you can look him up, it got to the point where they're talking about it. He's like, I don't want to talk about that. Like he didn't want any kind. And when you put those two people together, it's hard for Michael Phelps to stack up to the other dude because the other guy, they were talking about it. And he's like, I don't want to talk about that stuff. Like I don't want to talk about my achievements. He didn't want to talk about those things. He just wanted to help people and talk about your mindset. This dude, hardcore as fuck, was paralyzed twice and was still walking.
Yeah.
I guess he got his back worked on. And so his surgeon was in his gym walking and he saw him walking to go work out and was like, what are you doing? Right. He was like, I told you I was going to walk. Like you thought I was going to walk, but I told you I was going to walk. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here to do my normal day.
Yeah.
So like he has, I guess he recently had a stroke. Right. And so we went to go, like I had someone that went to go take a picture with him and he had a stroke. So he has a hard time walking and he had a walker. As soon as they're getting ready for that photo, he put the walker to the side and was like, not like, you will not take a picture with me, this walker.
Yeah.
Got into his car and drove off by himself. Wasn't like, and he's like 77. And it was that thing where he was talking about things and he was telling people like, I guess something happened to him. I think he got paralyzed for a second time. And he was telling people like, you will not take a picture of me in a wheelchair or in that car. Cause I don't want to believe in that shit.
Right.
And so it's, when you have a person like that mentality is like, I'm going to survive. I'm going to keep going. And what's going on right now? He's like, I'm having a little bit of trouble walking, but I'll be okay. I'll walk again. And so that's for me, like I said, it's hard to step up to somebody like that, dude. But what I loved about it was they were like, oh yeah. And he was special forces. That dude was born in an era where, he went to Vietnam. You know what I mean? Like as a military guy, you're like, okay, so if you're this age, that means you went to Vietnam. Right. You were special forces in Vietnam. Okay, that means you probably did some shit. And nobody talks about it because you don't even let them know about it. Correct. That to me is the person I want to be, right? I don't want these all accolades. I don't want people kissing my ass. But I want to do so many great things. Right. They're just for me. I don't want to sit there and show off to people and be like, hey man, guess what? I got a company. No, man, I'm just doing my grind. I'm doing what's best for my family and myself. And I want to help others, but I don't want people to kiss my ass or I don't want to brag to people. And then I just want people to be like, oh yeah, I didn't even know he was military because he did all these other things. Because, like I said, I don't know. It's hard for me to articulate it, but I do feel like a lot of veterans do hang their hat on this one thing they did. Right. And that's all they ever do. That's worth of note, right? Like they did in their 20s is more important than what they've done in their 30s or 40s and their 50s. To me, that's a sad life.
Yeah. I mean, I still value it, but you're right. I feel like once it's said and done, like, what else are you planning to do with yourself? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you just going to stay at home and just watch TV the whole time and then just keep telling everybody, oh, remember back in that time, remember back in those days? Yeah. I think you're right. There definitely needs to be something that continues to push you to want to do another achievement. You know what I'm saying? Another goal. Set your eyes to say, hey, let me try to be this. Let me try to be that. Let me start my own business. Let me write my own book. Let me start my own show. Let me move to Hollywood and start acting. Let me do something else. Yeah. Just to sort of, because I think you also are building a resume for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're building a resume for your life. And it's not, you're right, it's not the accolades, but it's just sort of a footprint or legacy to leave behind for your families, for your friends, to be like, yo, this dude went to Mars. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he was like, I think I saw one picture of this Asian man. They put a picture of him where he was like the first doctor of something. And then aside from that, he got his law degree, he became a lawyer. And then aside from that, he became one of the first Asians to be up in space. I was like, damn, like this dude was like he just felt like I just need to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like I just need to keep doing what I need to do. For example, so I'm starting classes tomorrow. my professor sent, all the students an email basically telling us what to expect, but at the same token, he put, a personal background just to tell us who he is and everything else. And this dude, since 1980 something, has just been doing education after education after. I think he got 3 doctorates. He got like 3 masters. Like, and it's crazy because in it, he's just detailing how he started out with this. He got his master's in this, and then he was working in the Department of Corrections, and then he was like, let me go get my doctorate. So he got his doctorates in like educational leadership or something like that. And then from there, he was like, you know what? Let me be a sheriff. Became a sheriff. And he's like, let me go get another master's. So he got another master's. And then he was like, I think he got an MBA. And then he was like, you know what? Let me go for my doctorate. And he got a doctorate in something else. But in the whole thing, he just wrote like, regardless of I got a master's and then master in that, he was like, I just love educating myself. Like he just loved the fact that he was continuously learning over and over and learning new things. He made sure he never put himself in a field that was similar to what he had before. So if his master's was in criminal justice, he put himself in a field where his doctorate is now in organizational leadership or something. And he felt that with those 2, that will help him now be a sheriff. So he went into the sheriff field. And then in the sheriff field, he was like, let me get a master's in, I forgot what it was, something with interaction psychology, because that he knew that would help him to understand the inmates. And then from there, he transferred over into internal affairs so he could understand. Dude, I'm just like, what the hell? This like he puts the doctor into doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude, and like I said, since the 1980s, and he just been going. But like for me, what I just got from all of that was the fact that he just didn't want to stop at one. He didn't just want to stop at a master's in criminal justice. He just wanted to just keep educating himself over and over and over. And again, now here he is in AMU teaching us. You know what I'm saying? After being a sheriff, Department of Corrections, Internal Affairs, 3 doctorates, 3 masters, whatever the case would be. But he just wanted to share that, dude, keep learning, keep teaching yourself as much as you can. Try to learn as much as you can. Try to gain as much as you can for your life, better your life and everything else. But just don't stop at one. You know what I'm saying? Right. Don't just stop at one place and just say, oh, it is what it is. I did 20 years. I'm good. That's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep going and continue to educate your mind and everything else. But I thought that was fucking fascinating. I was like, dude, this guy's fucking incredible. Like, I'm glad now I'm in his class because now I'm really going to be interested to learn from him and everything else. But just the fact that and he has a family. He got step kids, got his own kids, like lives in Florida. And this dude is just above and beyond. Like, fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting to see, though, was he military? There was no military in it, though. It was
really?
Just,
that's interesting.
Just Department of Corrections, sheriff, internal affairs, but no military background at all, which surprised me.
Yeah, there's what's interesting, man. There's it's that same like cliche thing. We all 24 hours, and what do you do with it? There's some motherfuckers that are doing some shit with it, right? Yeah. I mean, it comes to there's people we don't even know about that are doing amazing things, and it's like they have families too. Anything you can think of, man. I've known some people that do some amazing things, and their kids are like special needs, so they require a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. They still can do amazing things, right? And so, when I have people talk to me personally about like some of the things I do, I'm like, oh, dude, I kind of do that in the morning, or I start doing that when they're going to sleep. They're like, oh, that's smart. Yeah. Instead of watching that fucking Netflix, which I don't watch that much, instead of being on the latest TV show, those things, I don't really know a lot of things that are going on as far as TV shows. Now, the news I read, I'm watching Bloomberg first thing in the morning, so I have more of an idea what's going on with the economy, the international economy, right? I'm up to breast on those things, but that comes out of thing of I may not know. I've had those conversations. Somebody's like, dude, do you know this conversation, like the TV show? And there's a group of us, and I'm the only one who doesn't know it.
Wait, you mean to tell me you and the family have not sat down and watched Hocus Pocus too?
No, I'm sorry. And the only reason why I know that movie came out this weekend is because when I was on that trip. Yeah. One of my coworkers, she's really big into that stuff. That's the only reason why I knew it came out. I don't know these things, man. So I was like, but what I was gonna say though is like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure it's trash. I'm pretty fucking sure it's trash. I'm pretty fucking positive Hocus Pocus 2 is not a good movie. I'm pretty sure it's one of those ones where like, bro, you could have. First thing, this is number one. It was 19 years ago. The only reason why I know about it because I saw the Disney Plus that came out this time frame. I didn't watch that movie. I went to sleep because I had to wake up in the morning. But anyways, I was like, why didn't they just wait till 20 years? That'd have been a more magical thing.
Right.
And then two, I was like, didn't those ladies didn't they go to dust last time? So how do you bring them back? It's kind of weird. And they're all older now. It's 20 years.
But you have to see it to understand why they're back. You have to watch it good. At least for your daughter's sake. Let her watch that stuff. It's good it's a good Halloween movie. Then
it'll be on a Friday night when that's designated, when I have that time created. So have you heard of time blocking?
Time blocking, like you designate certain times to do certain things? Hell no. Who does that? Who time blocks?
Yeah, right. So it's saying that, okay,
apparently time blocks. This guy time blocks.
Dude, I do, man. It's really big in real estate, man. It's really big for what we do. Where you're like, hey, this time from this time we're making phone calls. From this time to time we're answering emails.
That makes sense.
From this time to this time, which I do. Like I said, from 8 to 10 o'clock, I'm doing social media. That's why at 9:30 I send out. I do our shorts right on Instagram, on YouTube. I'm doing that type of things because I have a lot of time. Right now, we're having this conversation. The family's winding down. I'll get done here. We'll go have a real quick talk a little bit, and then everyone's getting ready for bed, and I start getting everything ready for the next week. Just how shit goes, right? It's a little bit easier. First thing in the morning, it's easier to read a book. It's easier to journal first thing in the morning. It's easier to write my gratitude for the morning when everyone's asleep. I'm not taking away family time. So what I would say, though, one thing that I've done that has really helped me the most, and it goes back to your education point, is I try to live my life in a constant idea that I'm always going to write a 1206 for me, right?